An Irish woman literally came back from the dead so hard it killed her husband. In 1705, Marjorie McCall died of a fever. She was buried quickly, ring still on her swollen hand, because her husband couldn't remove it, and the grave robbers noticed. That night, they dug her up, couldn't pry the ring off, decided to cut her finger off. They make one slice, and Marjorie sits up and screams. No one knows what happened to the grave robbers. Some say they died on the spot. Others say they ran and never robbed another grave again. But Marjorie climbed out, walked home in her burial clothes, finger bleeding, still wearing the ring. Her husband, a doctor, was home with their children. When he heard a knock, he said, "If your mother were alive, I'd swear that was her knock." He opened the door, saw his undead wife, and dropped dead on the spot. He was buried in the grave Marjorie had just vacated. What did I just read? Irish women are strong as f***. I lived, IRL. One of the weirder truths about my job is that a 100-year-old sea turtle regularly tries to get me to commit a felony and throws tantrums when I don't. Her name's Myrtle. She's a 500-pound green sea turtle. She's famous, protected, legendary, and she loves scritches. But legally, only vets or divers are allowed to touch her. I'm neither, I just collect water samples. She doesn't care. She sees my hand enter the tank and immediately swims over like, "Bestie, it's head pats time." She headbutts the platform, splashes water at me, throws full body sulks when I deny her affection, and sometimes physically shoves the dive ladder like she's trying to start a union. I can't touch her. It would be a federal violation. She knows this, still tries. Daily, I've nearly fallen in trying to dodge her passive-aggressive shell bumps. She'll slap water, circle me dramatically, and snort bubbles like I've personally betrayed her. I'm not strong enough for this, but I am, apparently, the one chosen by a turtle to be the outlaw she deserves. You can legally apply to have wasps mailed to your house by the government. Not bees, not permits, wasps, through the mail for free. Apparently, if you live in Florida and have citrus trees, the Department of Agriculture will just send you parasitic wasps to release in your yard. No warning, no training, just vibes. Do they make you prove you have a lemon tree? Like submit a lime-scented utility bill or orange selfie? A time-stamped grapefruit declaration? Because somewhere out there, someone is lying to the government for fun. Oh yeah, totally have a tangerine bush or whatever. Meanwhile, a mail carrier is gently placing a cardboard box labeled live wasps into someone's mailbox like it's a candle order. No hesitation, no oversight, just airborne chaos in a corrugated shell. We ration insulin, we gatekeep therapy, but you want wasps? You get wasps. I assign Macbeth roles to my students. Ask who wanted to be Lady Macbeth. A boy raised his hand, confident, serious. Another kid immediately shot up, "He's the one, he's my wife." What followed was chaos and pink hearts. They blew kisses across the room, wrote love notes in the margins of monologues. Macbeth whispered, "I'm the luckiest man on earth." Lady Macbeth gasped, hand to chest, "Babe." They have not read the play, and I don't have the heart to tell them. Update, Macbeth is ready to fight for his wife. He's threatened desks, walls, random bystanders. Lady Macbeth has started using it for personal gain. This man is fetching snacks, and she's calling it motivation. They're holding hands during scene work. Macbeth has proposed 3 times. Lady Macbeth just laughs. We're already married. His real girlfriend is in the same class. She's not jealous, just thinks the whole assignment is a waste of time. Macbeth refuses to answer to his real name. Only answers to "my lord." They've accidentally reinvented the tragedy as a Shakespearean high school sitcom, and I might let them. People really said Johnny Bravo is anti-feminist, like the show wasn't literally about him getting bodied by women every episode. Yes, Johnny was a walking bottle of Axe body spray and jeans, but the joke was never that women liked him. The joke was that they didn't. He'd strike a pose, throw out a pickup line, and the woman would respond with a punch, a judo flip, or a restraining order. They weren't props, they were warnings. Johnny Bravo taught me women don't have to be polite to men who make them uncomfortable. That's it. That's the curriculum. No one ever dated him. Every girl had a job, a goal, a dream. He got ignored, outwitted, and thrown into dumpsters on a moral basis. And his mom? His mom was a queen. Unbothered, unbossed, beautiful. Today I learned Charles Darwin married his first cousin and had 10 kids. 6 of them either died young or couldn't have children. Being the scientist he was, he started wondering, is that my fault? Was it genetics? Was it me? Turns out while poking around in his garden, he noticed the same thing happening with inbred pea plants. Wilted, weak, kind of tragic. And suddenly he's just standing there like, wait a minute, oh no, that's me. Darwin being humbled by his own sad tomato patch is a level of ironic self-awareness I aspire to. The image of history's most famous evolutionary theorist having a meltdown because his squash won't thrive is me. Like, he went outside for some fresh air and walked back in with the horrifying realization that maybe, just maybe marrying your cousin isn't peak fitness after all. Every veggie in that garden whispered nepotism, and he heard it. My nephew, who is like 11 or 12, is playing 5D chess with multiverse time travel, which is exactly what it says on the tin, and I have never been more terrified of the youth of today. Here's a sample picture from the Steam page. What the hell is this? I'm a physics undergrad, and this game will be my PhD dissertation. Whoever made this is a psychopath. I can see why this game has the psychological horror tag. Couldn't sleep for weeks. Perfect for chess novices, because even if you play against an expert, they're just as confused as you are. A terrible tool for teaching someone how to play chess. What? How to utilize the third dimension, and why it's kinda stupid. Can a game go on forever? What non-Euclidean Lovecraftian deep spawn came up with? How is the present decided? Quantum states? Me and my sister have trauma bonded over late diagnosis ADHD, and ever since I suggested she get tested too, she's been collecting how did nobody notice this flags like Pokemon cards. The day she learned about paradoxical stimulant reactions, she just turned and went, so that's why I've been addicted to Coke since middle school? The drink, not the snorty kind. Meanwhile, I drank a full pot of coffee daily starting at age 10. I'd come home from school, brew a fresh pot, chug it by myself before my parents got home, and nobody blinked. I wasn't doing homework or anything productive, I just vibed with bean juice at 10. Apparently, that's textbook undiagnosed ADHD behavior. Self-medicating with caffeine because it tricks your brain into working a little less wrong. It's not meds, but it's something. But the wildest part, I didn't start because I was tired or unfocused. I started because Garfield drank coffee and looked cool. I saw that smug orange bastard sipping Java in the comics and thought, yes, that's the peak of sophistication. You are not immune to propaganda. Some people think I learned Braille for cool points. No, I learned Braille because I was too lazy to turn on a light. My pill organizer labels the days in Braille. I forget my meds constantly. One night I was like, did I take it? But my lamp was all the way over there. So naturally I decided I'll just learn Braille. Cut to today where I now reflexively read every Braille sign I pass. Elevator labels? Check. Bathroom signs? Absolutely. And I found woman misspelled as nomen more times than should be legal. Tired of getting out of bed? Learn Braille. It's efficient, it's functional, it turns your fingers into tiny librarians. Anonymous once told me you shouldn't learn Braille if you aren't blind. Go like, bestie, I learned a tactile alphabet. You're sending threats over it? Dear diary, today I was canceled for learning a language out of bedtime laziness. I don't regret it. I now live in a secret world of dots, and no one can stop me. I used to laugh at those "Europe is so small" posts. Then I missed one exit and accidentally ended up in Norway. No warning, no border checkpoint, just trees, new road signs, and suddenly we're paying for dinner in another country. We looked around like, I guess we're here now? And just stayed for pasta. In Norway by accident. Thought it was a one-time thing, it wasn't. Last week we tried to dodge traffic. Wrong turn, boom, Norway again. Different currency, same shrug. Back home, if I miss an exit, I get to spend 8 more hours in the same state, spiraling. Here, you miss an exit and trip into another sovereign nation like it's an open world game. Europe doesn't have geography, it has fast travel enabled. Norway has become our accidental dinner spot, twice. Not sure why people don't instantly choose shapeshifting as their superpower. You could be anyone. Fictional characters, celebrities, different versions of yourself. Cosplay, flawless. Dysphoria, gone. It's the cheat code to existence. Rob a bank, then shapeshift into a pen and lie perfectly still on a random shelf. Cops sweep the building, you're just a pen. You win. There are only 2 types of people in the world. The ones who use shapeshifting to become their ideal self, and the ones using it to become office supplies mid-felony. Just imagine a single ballpoint pen sitting innocently next to $500,000 in unmarked bills. That pen is you. This is the reason why shapeshifters would rule the whole world. Because one would be at Comic-Con living their dream, and another would be quietly hiding as a paperclip in the FBI. My teacher said draw fruits, so I submitted emotional damage instead. It was a chalk pastel still life assignment. Everyone else was doing sensible apples, respectable grapes. I drew 1 banana. No depth, no highlight, just emotional apathy rendered in yellow. Teacher walks over, squints, and says, you need more than 1 fruit. Okay, bet. I drew a single cherry, balanced it on top of the banana like a tiny cry for help, then titled the piece Banana Split Without the Ice Cream Because Life is Full of Disappointments by Fall Out Boy. No edits, no palette blending, I turned it in like I was dropping an album. My teacher took 1 look and immediately wheezed, laughed so hard she had to step out of class, came back 10 minutes later, gave me a B+ and a high five like I'd summoned a new art movement. This is the kind of art history I want archived in museums. The audacity, the chaos, the pastel. The cherry wasn't for balance, it was for emotional closure. Do you ever think about autistic medieval nuns? Because statistically, there had to be some. Other nuns watching Sister Marjorie like, wow, she's always calm, always at peace, so quiet and disciplined. disciplined? Why can't I be like that? Why am I so sinful and loud? And immediately spiral into confession. Meanwhile, Sister Marjorie is literally just like, oh man, I love eating the same stew at the same time every day. Then I go copy Latin for 6 hours in a quiet room. This place rocks. And everyone's like, Sister Marjorie is so pure, so serene. Her devotion is otherworldly. Meanwhile, Marjorie is internally speedrunning a fantasy alternate universe starring Bible characters where she dual wields relics and flirts with angel NPCs. Her beads click to the rhythm of her imaginary battle OST. She's not transcending, she's hyperfixating. Let her win. I would buy the Sister Marjorie manga. In the 1880s, rural farmers literally wired their telephones into barbed wire fences and created one of the earliest group chats in history. No apps, no usernames, just one long rusty wire stretched across miles of fields. Up to 20 homes could be connected. One person made a call and every phone rang, anyone could pick up, anyone could listen in. You weren't just invited, you were automatically in the chat. They used it to share weather, warn about coyotes, beg help with stubborn mules, but mostly, it kept people less alone. That tangled fence of rust and tension became a lifeline, an accidental social network built out of desperation and dirt. So you're telling me they invented voice group chats with literal wire and vibes. Cornfield wallpaper, someone's yelling about their escaped cow. Another dude's gossiping about his neighbor's suspiciously perfect tomatoes. No Wi-Fi, no emoji, just real-time chaos powered by fence. I just found out Donald Duck was a literal World War II veteran, and now I need to lie down. I thought the sailor outfit was for aesthetic, you know, cartoon flair. Turns out Donald Duck was enlisted, like canonically deployed with the US Navy enlisted. The reason Huey, Dewey, and Louie live with Scrooge? Because Donald shipped down. He fought in World War II. He has canonical PTSD. Disney released a comic where he sleepwalks, hears firecrackers, and thinks he's in a minefield. This duck has seen things. Wait, didn't the US government give him a discharge? Yes, in 1984, the US military gave Donald Duck an honorable discharge and promoted him to sergeant for his contribution to wartime propaganda films. My animation professor had to fill out a form to access Donald Duck's military record and had an actual crisis about it. Thank you for your service, Sergeant Duck. May your quack echo through history. Historical footage of the last T-Rex serving his country in World War I. Bravery, sacrifice, large teeth. Okay, but that's a Jeep, and the T-Rex is holding a Browning M2, which didn't exist until the 1930s. The US military didn't use those vehicles until World War II. I think this is actually late stage World War II, not World War I. Please be serious. Like, yeah, it's a dinosaur with a mounted machine gun, but God forbid we mess up the timeline. You know, the internet has ruined us when someone sees a T-Rex in battle and their first thought is, that firearm looks suspiciously anachronistic. Not why is the dinosaur armed, not how is it pulling the trigger, but that weapon wasn't introduced until the interwar period. We will accept time-traveling combat reptiles, but we will not tolerate historical inaccuracy. Every time I see a time travel show, there's always a tech guy eating gummy worms. But you know who should really be there? The Time Agency's historical costume designer. Sleep-deprived, furious, covered in thread and rage. 1450s Italy? Do I look like I have time to hand-dye wool? Absolutely not. You're going to 1980s Detroit and you're wearing shoulder pads. I've made 3 18th century corsets this week. If I sew one more bone channel, I will cry. Upper middle class? You said upper class. There is a difference and it matters. Kimono, not robe, learn. Stare into my eyes. You want 1500s accuracy? Then no trousers. Another royal ball gown? No. Go as a merchant's wife. This isn't prom. Sure, I'll stay up hand painting silk for 10 hours again. Pre-1900s women's fashion requires 30 days notice. I wrote that policy for a reason, Tracy. They are the real heroes of time travel. And they are one buttonhole away from snapping. Why do anime boobs float like helium balloons in bondage? I'm begging artists, understand the weight, the tension, the gravity. You can't draw boobs like they're water balloons glued to a plank of wood. They are made of flesh. They move, they sag, they suffer. If your character is wrapped in bandages or vines or ribbon, and you're claiming it's to support modesty or contain the swing, then why are the boobs still perfectly spherical like 2 cantaloupes under a tablecloth? Show me the pressure, show me the compression. I want to see the lines where those vines are working overtime to keep the situation contained. Let the boobs squish, let the fabric dig, let her nose struggle. Can't believe I just read "let the boobs squish" and felt emotionally seen by God. Okay, here's my idea. The British should put a time limit on the monarchy. Not like declaring a republic tomorrow, but deciding on a date in the future that ends the British monarchy. And there's a perfect date for it coming up. October 14th, 2066. 1,000 years since the Battle of Hastings. 1,000 years of this one specific bloodline ruling England. Call time on the monarchy after exactly 1,000 years. Nice and neat. Even better, Charles isn't living 44 years. He'll be gone in about 20. Now William, he's what, 40? Yeah, he can live another 44 years. His great-grandmother was over 100. His granny was 96. William can make it to 84 barring accident or assassination. So on October 14th, 2066, William the Last steps down 1,000 years after William William I won the crown. Nice, neat, and fair. William gets the crown he's been waiting 40 years for already, but 10-year-old George grows up without expectation of it. Have a nice big abdication ceremony even. Gordon Ramsay out-empathied an entire comment section, and I'm still recovering. Watching Old Hell's Kitchen, and there's this guy who clearly has childhood trauma. Every time Ramsay calls him a certain nickname, he shuts down, glassy eyes flinching, crying mid-task. And eventually he explains, "That's what my abusive dad used to call me." You know what Gordon Ramsay says? Not toughen up, not this is a kitchen, not therapy. He says, "I'm sorry. I wish you told me, we could have worked around it." This is the same man who once screamed at risotto, whose job is literally public culinary humiliation, and he still understood trauma better than people who yell, "No trigger warnings in real life," like it's a personality trait. Ramsay berates with precision and consent. Reddit guys, emotionally flammable over the word boundaries. He screamed at fish, but respected trauma. Your move, internet. If Gordon Ramsay can learn compassion, so can you. Usain Bolt posing with his winning tortoise at a tortoise race. Are you telling me the fastest man in the world spends his free time racing slow animals? That's not his tortoise. Usain Bolt does not own a tortoise. That tortoise is owned by Janine Calzini, and since she calls her tortoise the Usain Bolt of tortoises, Usain showed up for the race. Can you imagine the performance anxiety you'd be feeling as Usain Bolt's racing tortoise? You can't lose the race after being chosen by Usain Bolt and live that down. But the guy in the background is living his absolute best life. LOL. You can stop concrete from setting with just 2 pounds of sugar. Not kidding. 1 ton of concrete, 2 pounds of sugar, ruined. It won't harden, won't cure, just slop. Completely undetectable sabotage. Looks normal until it fails catastrophically. French anarchists used this in the 80s to sabotage prison construction. Sugar in the mix, and suddenly your carceral state is held together by cake batter. A structural collapse brought to you by dessert. This is the kind of thing I learn and immediately have to sit down for. Brain chemistry altered, world changed, bags of sugar look different now. It's a fact, an ingredient, and a threat. Your enemies build walls, sweeten them. It's dessert-based resistance. The revolution will be frosted. I'm just reblogging for educational purposes. I'm not doing anything, just thinking real hard near to Home Depot. Don't teach your daughter that he's mean because he likes you. Teach her to land a better punch. My mom told me if someone hits you, you hit back harder. Boys were rude, I yelled. Boys grabbed me, I smacked them. Guess who got in trouble? They'd call my mom. She'd show up, threaten to sue, and give the staff a 5-point lecture on why being annoying isn't flirting, and why my time was too valuable to waste on detentions. She taught my brothers to respect women. She taught me to ruin a boy's day if he forgot that. Once they tried to call my dad instead. Big mistake. He walked in wearing his full preacher robes and delivered a sermon in the principal's office. What would Jesus do? He'd tell you to call my wife. Honestly, call the mom. Always call the mom. The dad brings a scripture, but the mom brings court documents and consequences. One thing I've noticed while running an online shop is that Americans never include their country when writing their address. I don't mean when filling in online forms, because that's obviously a required element, but when emailing me for address changes for orders, they never include a country in the updated address. But I always know the country is the United States of America because literally nobody else around the world would do that. Seriously, why would you include it though? It's extraneous information, like of course it's the US. Bruh, there are 195 countries in the world. About 15 years ago, my dad was staying in America for a while. He tried posting some documents to me and went into a post office and explained what he was sending and that he needed it to be priority international mail. The postal workers helped him and checked everything before sending it. Eventually, the letter was returned to the address he was staying at with multiple handwritten notes, and the last 2 lines of the address crossed out. Apparently, multiple people in the US Postal Service wanted him to know that there is no state called England and London is not a city. If I was a shapeshifter, I'd be unrecognizable by dinner and mildly terrifying by midnight. Beautiful, unsettling, and deeply inconvenient to track. Half my time spent crafting the perfect androgynous silhouette. Soft jawline, sharp cheekbones, the kind of symmetry that makes people question if I'm real or projected. Slight menace, full mystery. The other half, razor slight teeth. Eyes that shift hue like an oil slick. A tattoo that moves just enough to make you think you imagined it until next time you look. It's different. It's always different. A constantly rewriting sigil only I understand. I wouldn't shapeshift to blend in. I'd shapeshift to make people doubt what they saw and wonder if they ever really saw me at all. If I was a shapeshifter, I'd just give myself fat tits and never wear a bra again. We contain multitudes, and those multitudes bounce. Thought my grandma was a puzzle game girl. Turns out she was a hunting God with a CRT monitor and a dream. We were talking about old school games and she goes, there was this one game I used to play, Underground Maze, guy in first person, he had a weapon, so naturally I started guessing Myst, maybe Legend of Grimrock, something with gears and levers. She loved puzzles, she liked thinking. We start digging through old dungeon crawlers, but nothing fits, until she sees a screenshot and goes, oh that one! Yeah, I used to play that while listening to AC/DC, hours on end. The game? Wolfenstein 3D. My grandma wasn't solving puzzles, she was clearing bunkers. How do I solve this level? Shoot every logic puzzle. She was out there with her Logitech mouse and a subwoofer dismantling fascism one pixel at a time. Detective Pikachu is PG-13, which means they get one glorious golden single-use profanity ticket from the MPAA. Hollywood always wastes it on a cutaway joke. Hey Pikachu, what the fuck? Door slams, explosion, noise, laughter. Safe, predictable, cowardly. But what if they didn't? Reverse cutaway. Detective Pikachu stubs his toe, hard. He's alone in a room full of humans who don't understand him. We get 30 seconds of unbroken rage screeching. Pika, 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 and then the door opens. Silence. Ryan Reynolds' voice crystal clear. Children scream, parents gasp, popcorn hits the floor. A 7-year-old whispers, that was earned. Theaters go quiet. Somewhere, the Oscars twitch. They didn't waste the rating. They spent it like a spell slot. It wasn't a joke. It was an event. When I was a freshman in college, I wanted to dress up for Halloween because I thought surely college students would have the spirit. So I elected to put a whole entire Skull Kid from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask cosplay together and wear that ensemble to college on Halloween. I step on campus and realize immediately that not one other person is dressed up. Not so much as a cat ear headband. So imagine this dude sitting in a class of otherwise normally dressed people looking like this. That was me. This was my 9/11. I had a professor that gave extra credit to those who dressed up, and his bonus was up to 25 bonus points on a midterm or final. Each was 100 points. The whole class dressed up, even the kids that never spoke a word. My costume was him. He always wore the same blue suit, brown shoes, and had a little briefcase. I spent like $10 getting a near equivalent outfit at my local Goodwill warehouse. He gave me a full 50 points, giving me a full A on both tests, and he posted me on his Facebook. My new favorite game is What's Christianity? And watching people short circuit when I ask about Jesus with full sincerity. Sometimes folks will mention going to church or prepping for Easter and I'll just go, what's that? What do you mean resurrection? Who's Paul? I know exactly what they're talking about. I've lived here my whole life. I've read the Bible, I've seen VeggieTales, but if I have to explain my religion every time I exist in public, then so do you, Sarah. This is the energy we need in every religious studies conversation, to be honest. One time I asked this girl what Christmas was with the most painfully blank stare I could manage. She went, it's Jesus' birthday? And I hit her with the softest, oh, that's cute. Who's Jesus? She froze like I cast a spell. I think I caused an internal 404. My roommate didn't speak English and still gave me the most affirming sentence I've ever heard. A few years ago, my roommate moved out overnight. I ended up living with a girl from Egypt who spoke very little English. On day 3, she looked at me, tilted her head, and said, boy or girl? I told her, girl. She looked unconvinced. I tried transgender, no recognition. So we sat on the floor typing into Google Translate like it was a sacred ritual. I wrote, I used to be a boy. It made me sad. I chose to be a girl instead. She read it slowly, then asked, you are happy now? I said yes. She smiled and nodded like I had just passed a test. 2 hours later, she came up to me and said, you and me, we are sisters, and gave me a hug. You say you are girl, you are girl. Anyone else confuse being easy to love with being easy to keep around and never inconvenient? As a teen, I thought my best trait was being low maintenance. Not funny, not smart, not kind, just doesn't ask for things. Like a good houseplant with a driver's license and abandonment issues. Now, as an adult, I flinch when I ask for more than the bare minimum in relationships. Basic kindness, reassurance, a ride from the airport, my brain immediately goes, you're becoming a burden, they're going to leave. I'm scared to have needs because I was taught my only value was not having any. Invisible meant safe, invisible meant lovable. You don't think you can be loved, so you try to be useful instead. Quiet, dependable, a human appliance. Turns out the bar wasn't be small and silent, it was be loved and real, and I deserve that, even if I sometimes need help or ask twice. Lemmings don't jump off cliffs, frogs don't sit in boiling water, crabs don't drag each other down, not unless something's gone horribly wrong first. Lemmings run when they're being chased, frogs boil when they're brain damaged, crabs grab blindly at anything near them because they think it's a way out. The problem isn't the instinct, it's the conditions that twist it, warp it, rewrite it in panic. So before you roll your eyes at someone for making dumb decisions, ask what chased them, ask what boiled them, ask what bucket they were thrown into, and who slammed the lid shut behind them laughing. Actions born in crisis don't define a a creature's nature. Panic isn't a personality trait, it's a survival response wrapped in desperation. And before you mock a sheep for staying with the flock, ask what dogs have been trained to nip at its heels. Ask what wolves wait just past the fence. Ask how many times it's watched someone stray and disappear. Maybe they're not mindless. Maybe they're tired of being hunted. Maybe safety looks like silence when screaming hasn't worked. Money can't buy happiness is such a baby boomer concept. Like, I don't want excessive wealth to buy a gold-plated toilet seat, Karen. I just wish I wasn't crying because I can't afford both spaghetti and rent after working 40 hours a week. Looking at the notes, I guess y'all are poor too, huh? Median income for happiness. It was originally $77K was when people are happiest. You can cover your bills, still have fun without much worry. I think it's been updated by state now. Basically, once you hit upper middle class. I can personally attest as someone who grew up poor and worked up to upper middle, it's a nice sweet spot. More money is a bonus, but I have enough to pay my bills, save, and enjoy myself. It's enough that an emergency when you're poor is an inconvenience now. I.e., my water pump recently broke. That'd be a major emergency when I was younger. No way we could afford to fix it, and we won't have water. Now it's a big bill, but whatever. I guess we won't order out as much and the new whatever will wait. Arabic doesn't have a P sound, and that was the day Paige became beige. She never recovered, and honestly, I wouldn't either. We're learning the alphabet in Arabic class. Teacher goes, no P. Paige, freshly lip glossed, already confused, blurts out, wait, but my name's Paige. The teacher, sipping chaos, then we pronounce it as beige. Paige made a sound I didn't know white girls could make. She looked betrayed by the entire Semitic language family. To this day, I think of it and giggle. My mom's friend Hugh once went to France. He introduced himself. They thought he coughed. Turns out Hugh in French is silent, silent, and more silent. They stared at him like he tried to cast a spell and mispronounced it. He switched to Steve by day 3. Salut, je m'appelle redacted. Consonants fear me. Vowels avoid me. Pronunciation is on break. Language, lawless. Names, subjective. Phonetics, a loose suggestion at best. Protect beige, she's been through enough. If a goose attacks you, don't run. That's blood in the water. That's panic in the air. That's how they win. Stand your ground. Arms out, eye contact. Warrior mode. Don't blink, don't flinch. When the goose gets close, and it will, you wait. Let it come into range, then grab. Neck, gently. Not enough to hurt it, just enough to assert dominance and prevent escape. Lock eyes, channel your inner forest cryptid. Now, here's where most people fail. You do not beg, you do not plead, you lift, and then you yeet. Like a feathery Olympic shot put. Hurl that demon away from your personal space and your soul. The goose will remember, they all will, but so will you. You will become legend. This sounds like a post, but I'm 90% sure it's field-tested military-grade goose strategy. It is. I used to have geese. I've done this so many times I could do it blindfolded, with one arm and a sandwich in the other. Today I learned a Russian scientist injected himself with a 3.5 million-year-old bacteria trapped in Siberian permafrost after successful experiments on mice and fruit flies. He says it has made him flu-proof for the past 2 years and gave him more energy to work longer hours. Oh, so no one can drink the sarcophagus juice, but this guy can inject him with ancient bacteria? I see. Between this guy and the guy who got hit in the face with a particle accelerator, I think we have pretty solid proof that humans aren't going to get superpowers. I married a Russian, and I can confirm I'm constantly shocked and bewildered and confused. Anytime he screws up, I get more flowers than an oligarch's Maybe it's some sort of Icelandic extraterrestrial bacterial disease that most it comes in contact with. But those who survive acquire bizarre new powers. Just saying. I regret to inform you that my cat now talks. Like one night, Kurt meows at me and it sounded too much like hello. Naturally, I said it back. Then he did it again and again. Now he doesn't meow. He greets me daily with a high-pitched, earnest hello that echoes like a ghost in the walls. I was just making rice in the dark in silence when suddenly, hello, from the void. I almost No, because I did the exact same thing. My cat Fish screamed like she was saying hello once at 3 a.m. and I, being a menace, encouraged it. For 3 years, I gave her treats every time she spoke. I didn't tell anyone until one day Fish misses a treat. It rolls under the fridge and she just says, oh no, I know. My fiance's sister stared at me. Are you the reason she talks? Apparently Fish no longer meows, she just speaks. We wanted pets. What we created were gremlins with linguistic abilities. What if past lives were real, but you only remembered the bad ones? Like, sure, you could have been a knight or a mystic or a blacksmith, but statistically, you were probably a baby. A lot. Because through most of history, infant mortality was insane. Like your past lives are just toddler, diarrhea, toddler. Hey, I was a cobbler for 4 days, toddler again. A blacksmith, toddler. Plague victim, toddler. That's why people are scared of not because they don't understand it, but because their soul is tired of speedrunning yourself in every time. You finally survived to age 6 and it's like, congrats, you unlocked the polio expansion pack. Meanwhile, there's one past life where you lived long enough to become a tailor and you treasured that memory like it was your wedding day. People don't fear death, they fear the respawn loop. It's not reincarnation, it's respawn with perma-hardcore mode enabled. No saves, no tutorial, you just drop in and afraid again. Fun fact, in the 1980s, the Dutch Unemployed Union invented a form of protest called a fridge raid. Not a metaphor, literal fridge raiding. They'd wait for a politician or boss to leave home for some event where they were talking about how poor people should just work harder. And while they were gone, boom, a crowd would break in, not to steal, not to vandalize, just to eat. They'd raid the fridge, clean out every last leftover, every single snack, casserole, yogurt cup, and then they'd leave the dishes. Spotless, not a crumb left. Nothing taken but food. Nothing broken, just a haunting absence of cheese. Their protest wasn't loud, it was empty shelving. Direct action via dinner. Beautiful. We should revive this. Let's fridge raid billionaires. I want Elon Musk's string cheese, and his Diet Coke, and the fancy olives. Time for goblins to gobble. You think you're untouchable until your leftovers vanish. My favorite humans or space orcs trope is the alien zoo. Some clueless aliens kidnap humans and toss them in a containment facility. Jurassic Park, but make it Homo sapiens. Then the alien humanologists show up like, you locked up a pack of hyper-curious, problem-solving, enrichment-craving persistence predators and gave them nothing but boredom? You fools! Throw in a basketball or some Legos and maybe KEX9 wouldn't have. They climb the wall? Of course they climb the wall. Have you met evolution? Honestly, the humans would have used those Legos to build a rocket. I saw a guy legally escape a Mexican prison once. It will happen. Humans are the alien zoo equivalent of octopuses. Cameras keep shorting, exhibits go missing, facilities get moved, still chaos. One alien researcher finally says it. Your humans are getting out. That's impossible. They're getting out. They are not getting out. Wanna bet? Stay late. Next morning, the humans were getting out. But why did they go back in? They said they weren't done studying us. They escaped for science. Your superpower is that you're completely, stunningly average at literally everything. Not bad, not great, just average at everything you try. But think about it. You decide to cure cancer? Boom, not a miracle cure, but a solid treatment. Papers get published, you're cited in med school. You try talking to aliens? You're not fluent, but it's passable conversational. Humanity hasn't even reached Mars and you're out here casually vibing with space jellyfish. You try flying? Little wobbly, not graceful, but you lift off the ground and stay up there long enough to post about it. If everything you do works for a little bit, that means everything works. You're the world's most functional glitch. You can't fail because failure requires being bad at something, and you're never worse than a 5 out of 10. You're a one-person Kickstarter campaign with 100% fulfillment. You are the spreadsheet of destiny. You are mid, and mid is unstoppable. Jack of all trades, master of none, MVP of the multiverse. I want a book where the narrator is clearly running from something, like first person, zero context, but every sentence feels like a court deposition. I poured myself a bowl of cereal. No cockroaches were in it, nor had ever been. Okay, sure, but why would they be? Then it escalates. She ran her fingers through her hair. Real, human hair, naturally growing from her own scalp. I'm sorry, why the legal disclaimer? Who's accusing her of having haunted doll extensions? Then you get this gem. I walked to my car, which I have always legally owned, and whose registration papers are intact and available for review. Sir, no one asked. The vibes are getting increasingly alibi flavored, and it just keeps going. Their dog barked in a way that was completely typical of a normal, full-blooded canine, and not the cry of a jackal, werewolf, or other. And the final blow? My mother, who has never been convicted of manslaughter in any jurisdiction, emerged from the kitchen. Like, I know this was fiction, but now I'm Googling, just to be safe. Special instructions, send your cutest delivery boy. I used to do this as a joke. One time I got a call from a tired old man who just said, I'm the only one working, is it okay if I come? I gave him a $20 tip and never did it again. As someone who manages a pizza place, this kind of thing, it terrifies us. I warn every driver, don't go inside, don't give out your name, call me when you leave. I don't care if the food's cold, I care if they're safe. Before I worked there, a girl was kidnapped because someone requested a specific driver near midnight. We got her back, thank God, but the manager didn't think it was a big deal. Also, stop hitting on drivers. One guy kept asking for our 17-year-old. When we stopped sending her, he started showing up. Then he showed up near her house. She had to get a restraining order. Drivers are not dating app NPCs. Leave them alone. Tip well, say thank you, goodbye. Every ghost hunting team should have one guy named Steve who doesn't believe in anything. Steve waits in the car, doesn't go in haunted places, doesn't care what the EMF says, he's there for the paycheck and to play his Game Boy. But if the team radio's in like, help, the rocking chair is growling again, Steve sighs, locks the car, and walks inside. And instantly, everything stops. Floating books drop, whispering stops mid-syllable, the room becomes spiritually flatlined. Steve rolls his eyes, calls everyone dramatic, and goes back to Pokemon. The ghosts hate him. They cannot function around his total unshakable indifference. He doesn't even notice when things move. He thinks it's weird. He has ruined 3 hauntings this month. He 100% believes the team brings him in for morale or to feel useful. He has no idea he's a supernatural equivalent of a power outage. He is not protected by faith, he's protected by apathy. Character concept, the world's best trick archer. Only trick, he can't shoot at all. He's a speedster. Every time he fires an arrow, he just grabs it, runs over to the target, sticks it in, and runs back before anyone sees. The perfect shot every time, no one's caught on. He's on a team with Heat Vision Man, who just glares at enemies, then sprints over, punches them in the face, and is back in place before they realize what hit them. No lasers, just speed. The entire team is doing this. Every single one is secretly a speedster using their power to fake being something else. No one's admitting it. Except one guy. One terrifying, silent guy who's not a speedster, he's a teleporter, and he moves too fast for the rest to see him. Now they all have imposter syndrome. He's the real speedster, they think. I'm just and what if he tells the others? Coming soon in Marvel Phase 5, Anxiety Squad. Every person in political power should be legally required to live like their poorest constituents. You make $6 an hour now, Mr. Congressman. You're not allowed to sit during your 7.5-hour shift. No breaks, no healthcare. Your lunch is the exact food stamp budget you tried to gut. You live by a freeway off-ramp and your bus shows up once, maybe. If you miss it, hope you like walking 10 miles with a bad knee and a paper bag of frozen peas. Don't like it? Pass better laws. You have the power, use it. This isn't satire, this is civic clarity. You shouldn't be able to write laws for struggles you've never touched. You're not a lifeguard if you've never been in the water. Some have tried it. 1 week on food stamps and they were stunned into compassion. Now imagine 3 months on disability forms, or a Monday morning commute in a wheelchair across cracked sidewalks. Laws should be mirrors, not fences. If you wouldn't live like this, stop forcing us to. My twin brother literally kicked me out of the womb to fulfill a prophecy. My parents tried for kids for 7 years. They were mid-adoption paperwork when my mom suddenly got pregnant. Plot twist number 1. She told no one, didn't want to jinx it. Then on his bed, my great-grandfather, who didn't even know she was pregnant, told her, you're going to have twins. The girl should be older, but the boy will be. A month before we're born. Cut to emergency C-section. We were so huge the hospital still has the file flag. And somehow, mid-chaos, my twin brother physically shoved me aside to be born first. He fulfilled the prophecy by winning a prenatal shoving match. So now I live with the knowledge that I'm the older soul, the destined twin, and he's the prophecy gremlin who used elbows. Foxes are what happen when the universe hits cat dog on shuffle. I'm not joking. They've got toe beans, they purr, they scream, they climb like raccoons but fall like cats, and somehow always land with the same offended dignity. There's a real thing, convergent evolution, where 2 unrelated animals evolved the same vibe because the ecosystem had a gap and said, we need a sneaky murder gremlin. Usually that role goes to a cat, but if no cats are available, the universe improvises, and apparently it improvises with a dog. So now we have this creature that stalks, pounces, curls into little meatloafs, steals unattended snacks, and makes the exact same noises as a banshee choking on a squeaky toy. Meanwhile, hyenas are what happens when a cat tries to build a dog from memory in a garage at night with parts stolen from an off-brand lion. Foxes and hyenas are what happens when evolution speedruns PetSmart. A beluga whale learned English just to tell a man to leave. No joke, 7 years in captivity. One night, a diver hears a voice in the tank say, clear as day, get out. He looks around, no one, just a wall of water and one pale face watching from the dark. Turns out the beluga had been listening, mimicking, practicing. Not to say hello or fish or I love you, but to issue one command. Get out, with intention, with timing, with spite. And the worst part, it worked. The diver got out. Everyone would've. You hear a disembodied voice in a pitch black tank say get out and you don't ask questions. You evaporate. LMAO, I would shit myself on sight, you big white bastard, don't speak up at me. Imagine achieving interspecies communication just to tell someone to f off. That whale had no interest in friendship, only eviction. There's a subreddit where men heal by replying to anime gifs. So originally there was this wholesome corner of Reddit, just women vibing. No creeps, no drama, just period memes, snack recommendations, and chaotic boyfriend rants. The energy was hot water bottle, rage, and sisterhood. Then men saw it, and in true internet form said, we want one too. And I braced for disaster. I expected beard oil discourse, grilled meat wars, and alpha vibes, but no. It's gentle, it's healing, it's like emotional Home Depot. Guys go in like, I hugged my dad today, I washed a dish, I took a walk without dissociating, and within minutes, proud of you, king, let's go, little man, you're crushing it, dude. From like Tim, age 54, profile pic is a kayak. I once posted, hey, I ate fruit today, with a looping Naruto gif. 3 middle-aged men replied, yay, there you go, little guy, like they were sending me off to wizard school. It's the emotional support anime zone. I'm never leaving. Imagine being a 14-year-old girl and realizing you're suddenly taller than most men. It was a regular day for me and my boyfriend, trying to navigate through a sea of teens on our way to the car. We were getting squashed by 14, 15-year-olds, and I had a moment of self-reflection. 2/3 of them were taller than us. But then I realized, as inconvenient as it is to be a short grown man, girls stop growing around 14 or 15. They hit their height peak early, and suddenly you're an Amazonian teen towering over everyone. And God, I can't imagine how awkward that must feel. My boyfriend shrugged. At least when she grows up, she won't have trouble with dating. I didn't get it. Why would her height be a problem? Then he explained that many tall women struggle with dating because the majority of men aren't into being picked up by their girlfriends. After thinking for about 36 seconds, my boyfriend said, well, those men are objectively wrong. So today in geography class, the kid who usually sits next to me wasn't there. 5 minutes into the lesson, the door slams open and he trudges in, looking miserable. Our teacher immediately goes, you're late, but the kid doesn't say a word. He just walks up to the teacher's desk and silently slides a folded note across. The teacher opens it, reads it aloud, and it says, my best friend dared me to only speak in Crazy Frog quotes for the entire day, and I was too stubborn to say no. The whole class goes silent. The teacher just stares at him for a full beat and asks, is this true? And the kid, visibly inside, sighs heavily, then mutters, bing bing. At which point his best friend in the back row laughs so hard he has to be sent outside. It's not even second period. We are absolutely not surviving this day. A depressed guy moves into a haunted house, only to discover it's occupied by 7 demons. Each one represents a sin. But instead of tormenting him, they're all helping him get his life together. Pride helps with confidence. Lust gets him a dating app profile. Greed sets up a budgeting spreadsheet. I would watch the absolute hell out of this show. Envy. Glut, back off the guy, okay? Gluttony. He could stand to gain a few pounds. I made spaghetti. Sloth. After we eat, it's nap time. We've earned it. Pride. Damn right we did. And Wrath. Wrath just wants him to stand up for himself. You deserve better. That was your parking space. He's 300 pounds of pure muscle and righteous fury. You are 165 pounds of rage and you're gonna get that promotion. Wrath's advice is terrible, but honestly, he means well. The Catholic Church absolutely puts out a strongly worded statement. The demons do not care. They've got group dinner to make.